Abusia and China Ghana for your call you and physical draw na yese yanto ya bani enche baby a pesa LGBTQ plus abusia ayi bebrebe no Ghana for enjina baby omo pe na Ghana for do say be to aba abusia president assure say yeah Ghana for no ye gina fifi ya ye defend ya ye strike ihu de ye hu de gina fifi na we na obi of Asempa FM abusia wa frɛ ayi Ofosu Kwakye say enye say na Ghana for mo ne kan na mo ka je say mo back price say we kware mo be say mo ti bie na mo Sam George Okuzeto abla Kwakye say mpanimfo ne de NDC for mpanimfo ne nyina say me jamfi mo assure Ghana say mo ba ya we ye mo be ti ne te no asa de penalty to na je say wa sign na we no Ofosu Kwakye assure Ghana for say ye kan say akwa na aban ne tena so MPP aban tena so ntimi anya say na amfo ameso mo ko no mo entimi anya no within the space of 6 months mo so na mo assure Ghana say mo ba power mo ache kra na just 1 week na just mo yi everyone na just Ofosu Kwakye kire Ghana for say just NDC for na eba no dey e no mo de ba so mo be try and draw and dey ti no mo de be je ho a munim sade no mo ntimi anya na mo de ye campaign e na busua obi so ayi bi ama Ofosu Kwakye papa se no mo si yi no enye ensem to aka mo eni gotie Ofosu Kwakye no obi se mo betu edwa.
It then means in Sonesa Felix 6 months into new government na eba baim no consistent with president promise say opese bill na kra be ko parliament enye private members bill na aban na nkasa be bill no ediako that has not happened again.
What it will happen? The TNF woko eka on the culture say apadaze we in court. Nti bibia wonemre to media aban no edoso papa nti by all means that bill will go back. If it will not go in the form of a private members bill, it will go with full governmental backing. The Attorney General and the Debeko Akwadam Parliament. Unfortunately, because MPP Abaya and President Akufo-Addo Dano refused to sign the bill into law, Parliament in a bill no so ewi. If you sign SRC bill, when so say to put together a bill, you need to go through a certain process. You can't also just go and pick the old bill and bring it. You must start the process afresh. You must start additional consultation. If there are stakeholders there, now among Kahu, Sabrina, which will be among Kahu Maniji. After the bill, it will come back.
But the MPs tell us, the MPs tell us, or colleagues now catch her and say, they've again presented the private members bill. We have a speaker taking delivery of the bill.
Yes, but we don't believe it should go as a private members bill. And if you say, I will say, yeah, a banana muntu. So that will happen. It is a matter of the Attorney General getting in touch and taking the necessary steps to ensure say you are your company can.
But what is a buying supposition on any US government restrictions are already and so far Kwakye B1 ni B2 visa 5 years multiple entries so almost 3 months a single entry any ade a buying ate na eden a buying kafa ho
o aban ate em say ansa na omde asani de tuga na hu asafie wo ho em say ya sotwe kra point na omde de tuga obata ya America anamushini a wetwe mko one your foreign minister no matter dey kita hunchu ya sotwe state Trump aban fofra aba no anamuntu a o tudi yenya ne ntie say there are people within the diplomatic community in the US o mani nyi sa anamuntu we hu na mum na kwa say Trump aban no o me gine tu o metu no no nke say o me dey adwuma obi dia tie ne say em say okotika kwa wi ne meko ama ponchene ati hu fifiri omo sa leak ba ye say the American government was planning to place 36 African countries on the ban list. They gave a tall list of reasons. It be almost say in Kuom say almost it will trust them. So that is countries that sponsor terrorism. Even also amaya almost a year so they have now almost a year with bamba. In other words, they harbor criminals. Ebinimu so ya manya eye omadishia wa ma no ni America ban no I say or do move fee no omoni America ban no enko benkro mu omoni omu needs awoso tell every almost have cancer nipa no. So they are not cooperating with them in the deportation of their citizens. And now so another reason actually any visa overstay, especially among students. And when Ghana affected we as a boarding in our country, we don't sponsor terrorism, we don't harbor criminals, we are cooperating with them fully on the deportation of your citizens. Nemo Madia Bako Ariano, any year this year it took American Abushememwa, almost saying mercy on the expiration of their visas, especially students. America Bino Ewo Susudia say Nipa Kwamon no. The Umumu or Hanchemu Dunum a year 15% and Sayama, they can live with it. Okay. FM. But if it exceeds that threshold, and Umutu and Amo, say, Meno Kasi, almost saying, and I'm Ghana, our rate is 21%. A year Ghana for a Kwaman on it, and Kanka Omo Kusiadiano. Umumu or Hanchemu, Dunu Bakun, Omun Sain Messi, Spare Omission at the Navy, and that's on this one, ISPA. 21% of immigrants, America, so that is the reason why we have been added to this list. Now, Mamenka says, Anamonto America banyo tuno. Almost say, Omu tuno, Bosumi, Mienu, Omo Maya Bosumi, Mienu, say no means I was so. Na Yan Chese, the two Anamoa, if they are dance, yes, Yadashania, Yasem, BP. So we have a 60-day timeline to comply with Omudimansa Omoyeno. But even before Anamontuno, ABC and Nano, now a buying penny for Sassie, it was Anamon say, Medinsa was Assemble. And in fact, Obekaya, they now watch about community. A year for a minister, Honorable Samoku Tablaka, Utuquine, Echo, America Bushimemo, or State Department, any Undersecretary for African Affairs. Now, if you are shouting to an amount here, why she must say, enter say, and now Edusia and assisted this national. Now it's me and ya, I saw America by me. Now, only you see this year on the account. See, and whom I summon. And yellow crack, tell you, no more cassette. Assembia, Ghana, Banaka, and I find Mr. Akintin, Akobanisa. It is not true. One more Casano. They simply don't have the facts. They are engaging in mischief. These are the facts, as I've outlined.
Ain't it a temporary restriction for 2 months?
A temporary restriction. And yet limited to Ghana, 36 countries. In fact, about 2 weeks ago, they published the list. It was a leak from the USA Department. But you know, who are no more listeners. But we have been affected because of star threshold of 50% of people who don't come back after going to America. No. Across local 21% in here, but we are working to rectify it. When that happens, they will restore our position.
Inside 2 months, no, or more expectation of us here. They say Ghana for now overstay the Yanshan for Mumra, and I say, Yanya, what are
I don't think there and only by realistic expectation. Basically, they want us to engage the citizens. Any or one American member will be at least they are within the reach of the embassy to engage them, to let them know the consequence of overstaying. This is the big cancer say, of course, you may come and I'm a Pontania to free. And I'm in the Yom year in a mouth of ra and come more per quenya column on Huapoka. They need to be made aware. Say, Omen to Sanamona, a idea they are 38. And then also, medium commercial, this also should enhance screening process during visa processing, no, to make sure that they are satisfied. Say, before they issue the visa. So, almost one family, and we believe that enter Busumi, no. Now you to me, and so I know that was happening.
Two questions I hear for Eddie Abreme, Mimusa and Afi and family. Number one, say, Obi, ask Honorable Felix, is it true that the John Mahama administration changed the U.S. visa policy for applicants coming to Ghana from a 5-year multiple entry to a 3-month single entry visa? Yansuya Yebibisa to U.S. for Ghana.
As far as I know, dear, and but I can always find out and get back to you on it, yes.
Okay. The second question, and it's Obi, ask Honorable, what is the government's position on the South African gay couple who came to take pictures at our dearest monument, Godi Ewotema, Nidie Eni, Honorable?
That kind of display of unnatural sexual behavior, no, it's Yaganamra. Ukraine, FM, a buying, I didn't anybody, Jumedia will be ADHD. And it is not something that has the endorsement of government. It was a desecration of national symbols. And so you cry. Now, I know because I need Ghana. In fact, as of the time, I didn't be told Ghana. And here, I mean, there's no money on my name. And there's some more money more. And I don't befa and so. But any idea, you're better, I'm an issue. Yes.
But if they've committed a crime against our law, sir, we cannot liaise with our South African counterparts now. Well, it
is an option. Now, you have to consider whether it's an option you want to pursue, given all the implications involved. But it is not out of place. Because you have to consider whether it is something you want to do, it is worth it, and the implications thereof, no, but all that has to be considered and stand away to an amount.
Yeah, because
they should be extradited to face we are. The person is right to say so, but we have to consider everything before we proceed in that regard. Yeah.
Our colleague, Honorable Reverend Intim Fodjo, Osi Obi. We have submitted the bill 4 months now. Speaker has approved it. Why shouldn't this bill go as a private member's bill? What are the deficiencies in the bill as was supported then by John Mahama and now? What has changed?
Obi, Reverend Tim Fodjo, he has no locus to ask this question. Because I say, what was his position when his president, President Akufo-Addo, refused to sign the LGBT bill? If he's able to answer that question now, I will answer the question he's asking.
Yeah, but some sponsors of the bill,
no, but yes. So as a sponsor of the bill, no, Abria Akufo-Addo refused to sign it. No, what did he do? If he is able to answer that, then we can have a discussion. But I have told you what our position is on the current status of the bill. My answer is that. But the person he's asking is hypocritical. You see, he is not a genuine supporter of the bill. But the number back simply because he didn't want people to bash the MPP. There was no commitment to Adena no more. Otherwise, Abra President Akufo-Addo refused to sign the bill. No, he would have taken action. And if he was a principled person, he would have protested publicly. Where is the record of his criticism of President Akufo-Addo for failing to sign the bill? But as for your supported bill, it is absolute. President Akufo-Addo, Mama. We will actually give it governmental support. So that is not in question. That is not out of question. That must say it is not in dispute. What is in dispute is in Tim Ford's commitment to the bill. And no, he should clarify.
Yeah, but I guess his substantive question was the bill as was presented by the private members, and no anomaly repeated this time as Speaker Ajia Tum. What is different from the Abayin Pepes or the Bebano from the private members? As
a private members bill, no, a young you to one among. Tabai the Bemwa, it has greater force and agency. But before we go there, no, in the same way, he feels obliged to comment on government's position on the bill. No, I can't listen to the MP, and I'm
also MP.
I'm also questioning his sincerity to the whole process. Say, I didn't know, or Mampeni Akufo-Addo. One sign bill, no. Not Sabra, the young say or no in Team Ford one cast. Why did he keep quiet? If he was a man of principle, if he believed, just had believed, why didn't he do anything? So to be answered, he will have the moral authority to come and comment again on the current status of the bill. In fact, say, I'm going to sign this bill now, and I won't even need to go through the process again. And
that's true.
So that, for me, is a more substantive question than the officers is here. As for the time that the bill is tabled, only he is an MP just like myself. Say, Parliament, we are masters of our own rules. So as and when it is deemed necessary, it will be tabled. But government is committed to enhancing that bill and lending support. But he should show us his position when Akufo-Addo refused to sign the bill. So to me, yes, sir, actually, that he publicly voiced opposition to that stance by the president. Then he will have more authority to ask any question on the bill. But as it stands today,
yes.
Only one can so be that.
To be fair to him, was saying the message about say Obi, my video urging President Akufo-Addo to sign the bill is public record in Parliament and on several media platforms. And you say let Felix know.
Urgent. So he was urging the president. Urgent. Half-hearted commentary after they came under pressure. No, it is not the same as strongly protesting. In fact, to show that he was a man of principle, no, he could even have resigned from the party to show that the need to say Abel no about the Yamra. Now, we in Parliament and make half-hearted comments because journalists, the camera better one, speaker better one, and America better one. It does not suffice. The same zeal or the business question we should have been on display when President Akufo-Addo refused. As we speak, you know, President Akufo-Addo was the head of the government. In fact, he was a deputy minister in that government.
Yes.
He was a prominent MP at the time. His actions did not show that he was genuinely concerned. Just have or not, it's at this stage there, and politics as usual now. Between us and them, we know who is genuinely committed to this bill. We all saw the shenanigans on court. Just so that Brian Bessoin or Mampeni Akufo-Addo won't sign the bill. We all know. These things will not sidetrack us. We are committed to ensuring say Sa Obraboni LGBT to Nyadiadi. ABNC or Mayimuna Emma Meyadia Ebeka Brabo. That we are sure of.
But fellas,
and we will do what it
you
takes
also
to get
agree, sir. MPs are no more side, are no more sponsors of the bill. Now were very vociferous time I'm opposition. No, now they are all quiet. They seem to be quiet now.
Quiet.
By
They've
the
gone
same
through the process. Bobby, they've gone through the process already to get the bill passed by Parliament. The MPP gradually came on board, and I use the word again, gradually. I am and they were not genuinely interested in passing that bill. It is a matter of Parliament tabling it for consideration and passage subsequently. That's all. In fact, if he says that the same bill has been brought out, what else should the sponsor of the bill do beyond bringing it to Parliament?
The advocacy.
What advocacy?
The bill was in Parliament when Honorable St. George was all over the place.
Almost now, 8 years. 8 years. Including Team for 8 years. But now Parliament, 8 years. It was not until St. George and others, Omutu Asemwana, when they gradually joined. And I don't know, it was just to avoid public criticism. Now, what's now 8 years? You couldn't pass a bill. Yeah, about 4 years. No, you say overnight we should pass it. Where is the standard? Where is the standard? No credit was in some kind of way. Adia went to manage 8 years. Those would be for 4 months in here. How does that even jive? In fact, when everything was finished, all that was required was for President Akufo-Addo to pick a pen and sign, green pen to sign. Now they are 1 year, 8 years.
Akufo-Addo didn't do it. You campaigned against it. The Ghanaian people say, okay, John Mahama can do it. Within 6 months, there are popular bills, 4 or 5 I go through, including tax bills. So this could have been passed as well within this period.
But are you suggesting, say, every bill should have been done in the last 6 months?
That's not what I'm saying. But
yes,
I'm saying,
that's exactly what you're saying.
For this bill, it was so a critical bill, which defined the campaign.
Every bill. A buying with the young man is important. But the fact is that we can't do everything within the 6 months. It is not possible. If our Parliament, your coalition says 2-3 months, the time could be. So Parliament has not even started for 6 months. If I have nothing for about 2 months cumulatively. That's why I'm asking the question. So almost 8 years, almost 1 amount. How can they possibly purport say and then they are demanding, say, within that short period that parliamentary the bill should have been passed. And mind you, it is a new bill. It has to go through the process again, as it was the last time. And the point is that we will not even be having it if the likes of Team Fojo had exerted the needed pressure on Akufo-Addo to sign the bill. 1 year, and yet he is here asking questions. On what basis?
Honorable, my nasi